if you can do one thing, it's like stick with natural fibers. The amount of the amount of pollution from the creation of synthetic fibers, and even like the cellulose based synthetic fibers, like with all the fancy name, like if there's not like an actual plant in the name or animal in the name, that's probably a good sign that like there's a lot of processing going on. I think also looking for brands, like shopping with companies who are really transparent about their process and about like, you want to know like where they're manufactured, where they're sourcing their fabrics, shopping with brands that use dead stock fabric. That's a great option. That would be probably like number 2 is like dead stock. And preferably, things that are made in the US, but even that is like, we never know. It could be like prison labor made or something. There's so few regulations on it. So I think shopping with brands that are transparent.
Yeah. And I agree with that. If you have the means to shop with brands that are transparent, I think the problem there lies in that it's not accessible to, a lot of the socioeconomic, situations that people are in. And how do we address that? How do people clothe their children? How do people buy clothes? For me, it's like, I try to tell my students, like, and it's kind of contradictory in the fact that they're studying fashion and they want to make new fashion, but it's almost as if like we have enough clothing and enough material in the world that already exists that we actually don't need to make new fabric. We don't need to make new clothing. So I always tell people, if you can, buy used, buy, secondhand if you can, pass things down, mend things, and I've seen definitely my students, this younger generation, like they're coming up and it's like, if their work is not addressing sustainability, it's really not relevant. Right. So they're coming up with all different ways to address the situation, and it's exciting to see. But my concern is, how do we then reach this broader general public, of consumers to make them understand that they have to shop differently? Otherwise, this fashion machine, this fast fashion is just going to keep perpetuating because there's a market for it. So how do we kind of reduce that demand so that the industry is forced to change?
It's really unfortunate that like the impetus is put on the consumer to make better choices, and we haven't, especially seeing like how clearly damaging this is to the environment and to so many systems and to some people's lives, and in some areas, we can, it's like we're all responsible for this. We can't have like a little bit more regulation on this. I mean, when we know that like there are just like millions and millions of tons of textiles thrown out every year, and like only 15% of donations actually make it to resale. It's kind of like,
I know. It's hard to see, and working in the industry, and to see like, liabilities of like millions of dollars worth of material just thrown away, when it's like that could have been donated to a school for students that, can't afford to buy material, could use that material, could turn it into something. So it just needs to be this shift in the way that the industry is thinking about just throwing things away. Like, I mean, waste is literally like a man-made construct. Like we've created it. Like it doesn't need to exist. Like we can, as designers and artists, problem solve and use this material and design back into it. Which is one of the things that I, have been researching in my own work, because I do a lot of print design, and in the fashion industry, you show your work and show that print that one season, and then you can never use it again, So it's like, for me, I was like, well, what do I do with all of this leftover material then? So you have to order like a certain amount of yardage to meet minimums. So there's always leftover. And that's the stuff that's going into the landfills. Mm-hmm. So then I started to like print over my printed fabric and to manipulate it in different ways to kind of make it new again. So to try to give, a new system to the industry to like look at it differently. Like these are new design challenges that we can accomplish if we just put a little bit more effort and attention into it.